So welcome everyone to the 266th weekly MLP Drawing School live critique stream. It's April 6th, and that's not a joke, despite it should be, because holy cow, has anyone actually seen the outside in the last 6 months? I haven't.
The outside was a heat wave yesterday, and today was snowing. So I don't know what. I don't want to be on the outside, honestly.
No,
I'm good here.
yeah, your outside sounds broken. You should just not look at it for a while.
Try turning it off and on again. It might work.
Yep. I think that's what we've been doing for the last year. It's not working.
Well, as you can hear, we have a small horde of people joining us today. We got Allie coming out of hibernation.
Well, hello. I'm sleepy, but still here.
We got CBC rolling over on the bed, going back to hibernation.
I may be here physically, but I'm also projecting somewhere else.
We got Fluffy's Eye, unable to escape from under the heap of plushies.
It's true.
And we got Pixie Nope, wrapped up in a cocoon from spiders who has captured him.
Yep. Please send help.
I'll send them the duck magpies from around here. They might take a few months to get to Australia, though.
That's so bad. All right. As always, if you got
we have an LD.
Lies.
Oh yeah, we have an LD.
Utter lies. I'm not here. I am a figment of your imagination. In fact, I'm just a voice in your head until proved otherwise.
We have a still Furby LD.
Ellie has met you. I think she's proved.
Could have been a robot. I can't be fully sure.
True.
I mean,
yeah.
It was
Everyone
a weird.
knows I programmed Inky. Inky isn't real. He's just an AI I made.
Yeah, it was a weird few days.
Yeah. Thanks for being supportive. Really means a lot.
No problem. Yeah, so as always, if you have any art, please fire it towards our face. If you have any questions, please ask them to us. We're here to help. And for the love of God, please start critiquing other people. It is great. It is useful. You will learn so much from it. You might be like, but no, Mr. Zombie, I can't critique. I'm going to be like, no. If you can hold the damn pencil, if you can look at your own picture and go, oh, well, there's something weird about this one, you can critique. Because guess what? We're all on this art journey together. Let's all just throw our information into a pit and see what sticks. That's critique. Mah.
There's also the problem that CBC can't focus for more than 3 seconds, so if there's a lot of pictures, we might go off on a Furby tangent.
I want to have like a cut of all of the times LD has like suggested that people do more critique and to see how much more frantic they're getting over time.
Yeah.
I'll just make a challenge, critiquing other people's.
Yeah.
Tried that 3 times. 3 times.
We also have 3 different challenges about making new emojis for the old.
Listen, we can't get people to do stuff. I even tried to pay people at one point to do it, and they still wouldn't do it. I give up.
But the answer is offer free art for it. We all just gotta draw free pictures.
I'll draw all your OCs kissing Luna at once if you do it.
Yes.
Wait,
yes.
Like, as in...
Gets to be involved in this group kiss.
That's why I joined the MLPDS.
Yes.
As in 1 OC per person, or are we talking like the plethora of 10,000 OCs that I have through this flip book?
Okay.
All of them.
One
First,
each, but in one picture.
First, you need to critique a picture, and then you need to come onto the Discord and do a dub boop, and then I'll draw your OC booping derpy. I don't know, one of them.
You just gotta show your receipt. Show your receipt.
Yep. Show your receipt. Do a boop on the MLPDS, and I'll draw your OC booping.
Anywho,
I'll draw your icon booping, derpy, because I don't want to search for refs. So, too bad. You better have a good ref, good icon.
I have a pretty good one. It was made by someone that we all know. All right. So
yours was the funnest one to do because I had to figure out how to make a zombie Furby.
I like it. That's why I'm still using it. All right, so let's do this art thing. We got a picture submitted by Tofu, who has changed their name so I don't butcher it every time. I don't know if it's considerate or they're
So
just
this-
tired of me.
Where do I have to go?
Down at the bottom middle, it says TFL.
Oh, middle. I know where middle is. I like when we don't use left and right.
Wait, how do I describe the extents then?
I'm lost. Doesn't matter. I found the horse.
East and
Someone put
west.
arrows around it.
East and west? Got it. All right, we're drawing a compass
I do
rose
know
on this
where
thing.
east and west is, because east is Spain and west is the ocean. Because I lived in Portugal, and that's how it works in Portuguese. Makes sense, I promise.
Okay.
Makes more sense than left and right.
Oh my god. Oh my god. If he doesn't respond, we might just hop off on do lens.
We have 11 messages.
Oh wait, what?
Yeah, there you
I
are.
have to mute
hello,
myself.
Tofu.
I have to mute
Yeah,
myself because I'm not critiquing.
No, it's just
no.
when we're asking questions about your art, we happily unmute yourself. It's just for the rest of the time because sometimes people don't have push to talk. Sometimes people click stuff. We just try and keep the
Of course.
idle chatter down.
Right,
It's your
understood.
critique, so it's your time to shine.
So, what questions do you have in particular about this horse?
So one of the things I have is has many questions. So first one is the background. So the background for me always looks a bit flatter because I don't know how to do the background that much. I just feel like it looks really flat. And also another thing is the shading and highlights on the hair. Like how do you show hair better? Because I've been doing this hard edge like some highlight thing, but I don't think it's working that well. I want to learn how to do better. And another thing is the edges of the shades. I've seen some artists, they have really nice edges of the shade to show like their fur underneath. It's not just like hard line, And then under see like how can you maybe do that? I don't know. And then also this last question, again I got plenty. Shade on shape of the face. So you can see on his face where the eyes should be. Am I doing the shades right or is that wrong? That's my question because I felt like it looks a bit weird, doesn't it?
There's no
on
right
his
for glasses for them. There's DJ Pone 3, and that's about it for glasses, and
Oh,
hers
no.
cover.
I don't mean glasses. I mean the shade around the
Oh,
eye.
the shading!
The eye socket. Yeah, the eye sockets. Like I'm not sure if I'm doing the shades right. Like showing the shape of the eye
think
socket.
the face shape. We mentioned we've mentioned the going in and all that sort of stuff. I think it looks good. With the background, I think it's probably because the original background is kind of like this sort of thing. I think it's probably just a case of looking a little bit boring because what you've done here with the horizon and then this like thing coming up under it is good. I've just sort of made the shape a little bit more interesting by like biasing it off to one side sort of thing. But to be honest, what you've done is perfectly serviceable. I think
I see.
we've had OJ Pichu do some sketchy drawing sort of stuff on and off on the server, and his advice is like always, hey, you can always blur it, you can always make it a bit blurry. And to be honest, if you're not totally happy with how you've ended up, just blur the crap out of it. It's all good, especially because that's sort of how real cameras will work as well. If you do have like set up the depth properly, everything in the background will just be out of focus anyway, so you can always
Cool,
just
cool,
do that.
cool.
And
Yeah, nice.
bokeh.
I actually really love to have the background blurred behind the character anyway, because bringing the character forward is, making them more noticeable is a matter of tones, hue, and also blurring helps that as well. So like you need them working with the tones is like how light a color is or how dark it is. So you want to make the image grayscale to see how the values separate, and it looks to me just from a glance that you don't have a problem with those at all from this picture. I'm imagining hue is another thing. Like if even if the values are separate, having a green character in a forest can sometimes still be very off-putting. So like working with the hues to make sure that they're still differentiated as much as you physically can, even if they're still within the same color palette. Like, oh, maybe the trees are more of a bluey tealy green or more of a yellowy green, just to whatever is furthest away from the character to make them feel a little bit separated. And sometimes it means outlining them with something like, oh, maybe there's like a sort of brown bush around them or a flowery bush or something, just to give a different color around them. And the other thing, and again with this, you've got all these pastel-y tones in the background, but the character is grayscale, so you don't have to worry about hues separating either. But having the background blurred is also really good because the eyes sort of just then automatically see it as sort of out of focus, because the character's all nice and sharp, and then if everything around them is just kind of soft, even if it's just a little blur, then it actually just magically makes it jump out way more, and it's really, really good to do.
Nice. Okay, thank you guys so much. That's great.
And I think the one thing I'll add is all these questions you have are really, really great. Just be careful of creep. Project creep is very much a thing in art, especially in learning art. If you're trying to learn everything at once, it kind of hinders learning
Yeah.
everything. So if there's something you really do want to work on, like I know you talked about shading, you talked about backgrounds, you talked about anatomy, you talked about all this stuff, and I know currently you're doing all these great anatomy studies. And sometimes it's going to take some time, and to focus on each one individually, they will start to build on each other. And don't feel like you have to master one before you move on to another, because it's kind of all feeding into itself in general.
It
The
just
more you
means
draw,
focusing on any one particular lesson at a time, just so you can gain some focus on it.
yeah. And the more you draw with each of those focus lessons, you're still going to be pulling stuff in from other subgroups and whatnot. So if there's something you want to focus on, try to like pick a small project, and like if you want to work on backgrounds, look into doing pan air studies or just photo studies, or even spending some time and reading up on composition, reading up on color theory, all this stuff, just like focusing on like one thing at a time instead of trying to learn everything at once can be
Right.
beneficial. It's
I see.
it depends on your brain.
I see. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Yeah. True. Because when I was doing the the artist thing, the artist study thing, I really realized that the shapes really fits in with the anatomy, and the shades they use works with each other as well. Yeah, one step at a time. I guess I'm still pretty new, so yeah, one step at a time. Just need to be more focused.
And you're doing really great, don't get me wrong. It's just don't forget to take it slow sometimes. And as much as we'd love to learn everything at once, sometimes it's just not what our brain's going to absorb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's especially when you're like learning a lot, it can be like, this is so amazing. Everything's awesome, and it is awesome. But then you'll eventually hit that point where you're like, well, now I'm not learning so much. What the hell? And it's yeah, just sort of be prepared for it and don't stress out too much when
Yeah.
that happens and all that sort of stuff.
Okay. I see.
With your ears, just be careful to sort of space them out enough, sort of thing. It's like at the moment, the feeling that I'm kind of getting from it is like both the ears being pulled into the middle, and it doesn't really sort of contribute to the expression as much, sort of thing. Or like I'm just not. It's something that kind of makes me feel a bit weird about the expression. So I'd probably just push them out to the side a little bit more, because
I see.
there's this big lump ahead, and so when you're sort of posing the ears, they've got to sort of contend with the head being there, and so they're always going to be a little bit more spread out than sort of they are there usually.
Right. Okay. I see.
You can see people adding clouds and all that sort of stuff back there.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to watch the stream. Where's the link to the stream?
Oh, it's
Oh.
right like 6
I
posts
was
above there.
taking notes.
You've been
I
drawing
was
this
like,
whole time, so
yeah.
you
I
can
mean,
watch that
I'm
later.
on now.
I got good news. It's
Oh my
recorded
God.
for you.
Wait, stream's offline.
What?
Oh,
How do you
that's
try?
that was wrong stream. Wrong stream.
There you
Oh
go.
shoot.
I believe in you.
Damn,
Anyway,
shoot.
it's not going to
Yeah,
catch up
I
to
know.
what you weren't seeing, but
You can go
Yeah,
back
I'm
and
here.
listen to the
Nice.
stream.
Ah, I
If
see.
you
I see your
do,
point
it'll
now.
be in
Nice.
real
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I see your point now. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. But in general, it looks good.
Hmm.
I like it.
Oh yeah, I see your point about the background clouds as well. That was a lot better with different colors. Doesn't look as boring. Yeah, nice. Details on the stands. Yeah, I love it. I see how can improve it. Nice. Yeah.
Give them a sunset. They always love sunsets.
Yeah, nice. I wish I can save that image. That'd be great.
I mean,
Like the one that you're
I'll
probably
export it at
enjoying
the
on.
end.
Ah, right.
No drama. Yeah, you can see the little sketches.
The horn's too sharp again. I tried the original horn is even
it's interesting. It's not like really a matter of sort of how wide or sort of thin it is. In this case, it's more a case of sort of pushing it forward towards the front of the face, and so you can see that's kind of the base of it is sort of somewhere like around about here, sort of thing, and then it like
I
extends
see. I see.
out.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
a strange kind of an angle to get, so don't stress too much. Just
I think next time I need to do the horn before I do the hair, because I used to do the hair first, and then it just gets everything messed up a little bit. Yeah, definitely. I see your horns a lot better now. Fit in a lot better. Nice.
that's about good for now.
all right, let's move on to our next one.
Yeah.
Unless we got any further questions for us.
I still got two questions.
Okay.
Which is the shading on the hair and the shading edges. It's like especially shading edges on the body. So I've seen artists doing like they have some zigzag shapes of detail shading going on the body to show like there's fur there, because horses, they have fur on the on their skin. It's not so like like how can I maybe do that, like or is that like his preference, or just like general questions.
Wait, they have fur? What? Hey, Masters of Fur, the Fluffy's Eye, and CPC. You wanna take this? Believe this is your wheelhouse.
I will have a little poke at it. I mean, honestly, actually, my tablet pen is messing up for a second. It doesn't seem like like what you've got is quite good, because we often say like less is more sometimes when it comes to fluff and stuff. Like people who completely drown everything in fluff spites can often end up making it sort of going against what they're actually trying to accomplish. And so we often say to just focus on just adding little bits of detail here and there to make it feel a little bit more natural. Oops.
Right.
I'm trying to get to drawing, but my tablet pen is doing that thing again. Sorry. Um, it's like what sort of areas were you sort of wanting to accentuate fur in?
I think one
I
of the area I want is the chest, but chest in shades, right? That makes sense. I think maybe like the arm part, like the shoulder part,
uh-huh.
maybe like that part, because I was trying to do something similar with the highlights. I'll try to use like a hairbrush to draw over to show highlights, but it doesn't work. It's just really weird, because like you said, again, it's way too saturated, way too much, soft edge. It defeats the point. And I'm just thinking like, how can I, better do that if I want to have the details of hair in there.
Yeah. So I like to it's hard to sort of define on this character in particular, but there's certain tricks I like to do with my characters to make them look fluffy. I might just like draw on the side or something. So one thing I do, we've got like a head here, is if I'm doing like chest fluff, probably not going to be very good, but I'll do the chest fluff sort of sticking out like this, and sort of the other side of it making it sort of curl into a ball. Then I'll actually have that curl into like the sort of shoulder of the leg, and then sometimes like a little bit there on the back of the leg. That's for like very soft looking characters if you really want to accentuate their sort of fluffiness. I also like having on the sort of the back end, you can have like a little bit of fluff sort of on the bum. So rather than just being like a flat circle, you can have a little bit of fluff texture there, and there's a keying up and a tail. Or you can have I'm just going to flip to the other side because it's not much room. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to continue drawing down here. So I've already got a thigh. You can have like the back of the Hawkbee fluff. Sometimes what I also do with my hoof shapes, I find a good carrot. Yeah, but there we go. Where I have the hoofs, instead of just going up like that, I'll have the hoof sort of bend a little bit, as if having like a little bit of fluff on the back of the hoof. Sometimes I'll actually accentuate it into having fluff, like just very very gently and soft. Doing this sort of, draw it bigger. Doing this sort of move is pretty good. Like having the fluff curl out and then back into the line you're doing.
Yeah.
So it feels natural, like it's part of the line, like it's not just extra lines drawn on there. So if I was doing it on here, it would sort of, I'd firstly erase part of the line art, and I'd have it sort of come out like whoosh, and then sort of go another little spoke, and then sort of bend back into the body. So then you have like little little bits of fluff that just sort of feel like they're part of it. You can also do fluff like on the top of the leg, either like actually sticking out like that, or if you want it to be a bit more subtle, just little lines like that on the inside. Just little spaces like that, just where the fur would naturally be sort of thicker, like on the hooves, the chest, shoulders, back, and maybe on the thighs, or especially on the back side of the thighs, or maybe even on the cheeks. I like to put it also in this dip between the ears sometimes, so like where the ear goes to the head instead of just being connected. There's like a little bit of fluff. But it's up to you just to experiment with which different bits you like sort of playing with, and which bits sort of make sense, and how much you want to add to the character's fluffiness, because it'll change depending on the character, like how soft you want them to look.
Nice. Yeah,
I'm not
great.
really like an authority on fluff, but like a good thing to keep in mind is that the fluff is sort of gonna appear usually like around the places where things change direction, because
Yeah.
like the fluff is what the fluff is normally is like,
Do you know what the
hey,
fluff is?
the fluff wants to keep the fluff wants to keep going in that direction. The fluff wants to keep going in the direction it's still going in, and so that's why there's going to be like little tufts of it going out and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly right. That's why sort of what I was talking about, how it like curls outwards and back in from. It's not going to be just like sticking out. I don't have a very good color. It's not going to be just sticking out like this, because it's not like made of cement. You just got to think about
Well,
like how the hair
maybe
will
your
sort of
fluff
bend
isn't.
and lift.
I feel called out.
So the fluff is like going with the flow of the emotion, right? So doesn't like curve out weirdly in strange angles. It just goes along
Yeah.
with it. Okay. It's just like one or two, right? Like one like like I see the one you did on the chest. Like there's like one that's like sticking out a little bit, and then there's rest of them just going downwards, following following the general shapes. Yeah, I see. Nice, very nice. Thank you.
Hopefully some of this will also give you some ideas to play with in the future.
Definitely, yeah, that's amazing.
It's good
And if you want to look into like I know you also said you want to incorporate it into your your shadows and your highlights and stuff. Thank you for the cute the little fluff ball I drew down here. What you're gonna like basically what this is gonna lean into is texturing. When you see those little like zigzags and shadows and lights and stuff, that's something that can be delved into like material studies, texturing. There's a lot of how to paint fur tutorials. Like even if you don't want to completely be a painter, watching painting tutorials really help you with texturing because it's like all so much texture, so many good texture things. So if you want that kind of peeking up in the shadows and whatnot, yeah, they're good. They're good.
Nice.
They help for that.
Right, I like the little sort of texture fluff ball on the bottom there. It's very nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
I wish this program had better tools. It was hard to do that.
It looks good. I don't think I see you draw with the larger soft opacity brushes, Ali. So it's really interesting.
Oh yeah. Now usually when it's just sketching, I tend to keep them small. But if I'm like trying to do big dramatic things, I go bigger. Well, I don't even know. I don't know what I'm saying.
All right.
Nice.
Lots of things to practice.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Always.
Good draws.
Maybe we'll do a fluff draw along later or something.
Fluff along.
Fluff along.
Shall we move on to our next one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'll do that as soon as someone tells me where the heck I just put down my pen. Literally just in my hand.
Bye.
Paid. I know the feel.
Plus, she stole it.
Don't blame my plushies.
All right, let's do lens.
Yeah.
It's the itty bitty one.
Is it
Little
cute?
tiny one in the middle.
Big horse.
It's so tiny.
I love.
So poor pony. Why are you so scared?
So, I don't draw smaller chibi ponies, so basically, is the anatomy okayish? Is there anything AI should change? And maybe see your opinion on how I could make it cuter.
I'm struggling to figure out what's going on with the hair because honestly, at first I thought this was a wing, so coming up and almost doing like this sort of like fawning over the head kind of thing, just cover the forehead, like oh no, but like I can see it's a part of a mane, but it feels like this is an odd way for hair. I mean, it's fine because it's very cartoony and like this is the sort of shape you can have in cartoons. It's just not like following the sort of rules or loose rules of hair and how it sort of flows and clumps, as we sort of talked about in the stream before. But if this is what you want for a cartoony based character, then it does kind of make sense. It's just at first it was a little bit hard for me to sort of understand because it's very sort of like it's got this like interesting shape and it's like tented and it comes back down.
I might just add a little like thing here to show that it's folding,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
and then make this stripe follow that curve. And then with the nose, I'll just make it a bit more round instead of doing this shape.
You can pull the mane down just to help increase that overlap a bit.
So many lines appearing.
Multi-drawing.
I like it.
I really like it. Like
It's
my
so
2 cents
cute.
on the chibi thing is like it looks like a pony, you got the emotion across, boom, you have a chibi. They're just small and I don't really think like there can be rules for chibis, but really you're squishing something into this weird deformed version of itself, so what rules can there be?
I mean,
That's
the
my
rule is that
2
it has
cents.
to be cute and it's adorable, so you made it.
You have passed.
I added a halo because it looks like they're praying, and yeah, that's my contribution.
You should make some icons for the server in that style. It's very cute and it
Yeah,
works
it
also
really
well.
is.
Make some fine lines. I have
So,
no money to give you though, so
yeah, whose turn is it with the $20 bill?
I only have pony monopoly money. That's a lie. I don't have pony monopoly money.
Monopoly.
See, the problem with it is $20 from me is different than $20 from you is different than $20 from Allie is different than $20 from
I mean,
CPC.
dollars are monopoly money, right?
Mhm.
I work in pounds and
I love how you
euros.
say monopoly.
I don't know how to say it, so I just
Monopoly.
made it up.
The good thing is, LD, that the $20 in Canadian and Australian is basically the same.
We should probably go with pounds then. We should all get 20 pounds because I think that's the highest.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get
in
the
general,
equivalent in gold. It'll be fine. But yes.
in general, I think this fits the what you wanted to do. I think I reckon it looks good.
Yeah. Is there a
Pete.
certain way you wanted to push it?
Hmm.
Is there something you're unhappy with?
Is Lynn here? I mean, they're in the chat.
Len, where art thou?
Art.
All right, maybe we'll circle back to them if they have any questions when we're done.
I had to
Oh.
speak.
That I make my mic.
Oh,
Are you
good.
all right, woman?
It was off.
Man. Was
Oh
it
Sorry.
no.
that
I've been
sounds
talking all
painful.
this time.
Oh,
It sounds like you were busy being choked to death by possibly 12 squirrels with a raccoon as a mob boss.
is
Hell
this
yeah.
your expression?
Basically, yeah.
Brilliant.
I don't know. I don't remember what I all said. What I said. Oh my god, words. I also lost a part of the conversation because not PTSD, ADHD kicked in. God,
Yeah.
brain.
Relatable.
I feel, yeah, relatable.
Uh, okay. Let me start from where I remember. Hair. I like to push hair as much as I can. Nose. I had no idea what I was doing. There isn't even a chin.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't think she needs a chin. I was just saying that like that
yeah.
this curve that like connects to the mouth. Maybe you could just even separate the mouth into like this.
Yeah, exactly. She has no chin.
Yeah.
The
Oh, I
eye
like that.
pupil that someone put in is terrifying.
Thank
And
you. It's my specialty.
hell yeah. I don't think I wanted to push it any other way, but I don't like I would change the hooves, but I couldn't do that much because it's
I think
hard.
it looks good. If like the only thing that I think you could possibly change is maybe like just where this hoof ends up, like maybe push it like a little bit further that way, because
Yeah.
that's if I'm looking at them properly, they're like shoulders are sort of going to be around about this area, so
Yeah.
boom boom, something like that. But to be honest, I do like the sort of shape that this ends up with, so I probably wouldn't change that too much anyway. Makes for a really interestingly readable sort of breaking of the anatomy,
Mm.
which I like. I did
like
add
the
the tiny shadow back here just to help break things up a little bit, and I
yeah.
think that is useful.
That specific drawing, I didn't put any shading in because it was just a quick drawing that I did for a thing on my comic. What is that character?
Basically, a good drawing. I like it.
Well, thank you. Also, I did hear talk about the like little character stickers for the server. If you want any, just pass me some like reference pictures, and I'll probably come up with some.
Bloody brilliant.
Hell yeah!
We should make a reference channel where people can like post their character sheets and stuff.
Sure.
Oh, we
That'd be
we
fun.
still have one actually. You
Was
want
it
it?
like a Google Doc?
Yeah, it was.
I feel like that
I
thing's so
vaguely
out of
remember
date
that.
now.
Oh boy, is it ever!
I think it still has my pony, which I have then moved on to a mouse, and then I was a now I'm a panda.
You're always a hard at horse. Wait. See, yeah, here it is. Here. Oh, yeah. Here
Those
we go.
everyone's 2011 OCs.
Oh dear.
Look at that Google Doc. I think that
Oh
opens.
god.
There's so many.
I like how Ali is still at the top.
I think I remember doing
Oh,
this at
Fluffy's
one
at top.
point, maybe.
Oh my lord, there are a lot.
I don't know if I'm Zai or Fluffy though.
I see Zai.
Okay, I was trying to scroll, it wouldn't let me scroll. There we are. It's probably a
I'm
really
definitely
old
looking through
reference
that
sheet
later.
though. Oh god, yeah, it's before I even made like the movie star. This is like 5 style changes and like 8 variations of Spirit Indigo. Or 18. changed a lot. Anywho.
So yes, we did have one. I think it's subject to an update.
Maybe a
Perhaps.
little.
Fine line rush.
Wait, Glenn!
Glenn, you're,
Glenn, no!
We're being sucked into the
muting?
galaxy.
There's like a war of the robots
Yeah.
going
Oh, my ears!
on.
Oh, I am sorry to everyone that just experienced that.
Oh no.
Oh.
It's just mean.
I love it. It's good.
It's just if I unmute them, what happens?
It's part of the sacrifice. You've sort of said, all right, I want to be the best at art ever, and they were like, yep. But also, your mic is sometimes gonna like spawn to pits
Yeah,
of Satan.
pretty sure that is what happened right there. Like, demons spawned out of there.
I love this expression because it just fits so well for everything that just happened.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute them. See what happens. Is it better?
Unmute who?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I muted you
unmute
because I'm doing the recording, so that was blasted across the recording.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They
Sorry.
said that it apparently only happens in this channel, so
Oh, well, that's always good. We like to be unique and special.
they've added the new.
At least it's a reproducible issue.
Yeah.
Like my QA people will say yes. Yay. Reproducible issues, yay.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Allie,
What?
while clicking
Ooh.
through these Google Drive things that are linked to the
Yeah.
MLPDS account, I found the fan art for the 20th MLP Drawing School critique stream.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm sharing other people's art because that's what I do as a horrible person. I like the uneasy laughs.
We are so distracted.
Yeah, anyway,
I'm
we
glad
got...
today is not my fault that we're gone completely off tangent.
Mm.
It is mine.
Speaking of tangents, let's tangent back to our horses here. So...
I
I thought you were going to
chilling.
post or like point to a picture that like suffered particularly badly from tangents.
No, this one's actually just pretty tasty to look at. Like, these colors and this hair is so good. So top
I
left-hand
love
corner.
No idea. I
Well,
have no idea which picture we're at because I've spent the last 20 minutes distracted painting a pony down
Okay,
there.
what I
top
want you
left
to do...
rainbow.
Yeah.
I
And
found a
yeah,
circle.
close
thank you.
enough. Cool. Rainbow Dash.
What did they say?
This one's by Jazz Blaze Wolf. Trying to improve my shading. Hi, this is the first time posting on Reddit. I'm trying to step up my shading, but I feel like I'm getting nowhere. I'll try any advice I can get. So they've even posted like the steps they've taken, which is really cool. And it looks like
I like the
overall...
shading. It's pretty.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and link this for anyone in the peanut gallery who wants to know what that looks like.
So, my advice whenever you want to do like shading sort of stuff and focus on shading and do all that sort of thing, go big. Make your brush as big as you can, and just like focus on the like giant shapes. You know what's going to be like what I like doing with my art program is having like a layer on top of everything that just monochromes everything, and then I'll just enable and disable that now and then just to check and see the sort of balance of lights and darks in my like image generally, and just draw big. Focus on like the big areas. What's generally going to be like the light and dark parts of the image? What's going to be sort of mid-tony areas and all that sort of thing. I don't know. Shading is hard.
Where would you see the lights coming from in this picture? Like the main... Clearly they're in the sky, so lights coming from everywhere, but like... Where's that powerful sun hitting from? Is it up front, like here, or
I think
you think?
sort of almost from like behind the camera a little bit, focusing like down this sort of direction. But I'd probably expect a little bit more of the neck to sort of just a little bit more of the neck, because it's kind of this in terms of like showing off where the lighting is coming from. This area is like super important because it's like, yeah, this really visible part. Oh no, what happened there?
Hello, phone. I'm really liking the design. Like, just so colorful. It's like an explosion. Rainbows.
Mm-hmm.
I am in love with the way that the transitions on all these feathers works.
Yeah, honestly, all of the coloring on this is just fantastic. Like, I super love the sort of like you got like some ambient lighting going on, like the around her like hair and the sort of hanging tails. There's like a lot more blue light going on. And some towards the edge of the feathers on the left as well. You can see there's some bluing. So it's lovely. You've got some like you got like the colored highlights going on. Like, we like to see that.
Heck yeah. Whoever did the coloring, sorry, the shading on sort of this
Yeah, I would
earpiece looking thing
add
looks good.
an extra layer of multiply where you can add all the drop shadows, so like the drop shadow on the hair and this feather back here and the feathers here, and that would help separate everything. And then you might also want to go through with picking colors from your drawing to add reflective lighting. So for example, the hair might be reflecting here, and you'd add a little bit of orange, and the sky might be reflecting back into the feathers. So you could add some blue light to the edges here to separate each feather. That was that. Oh, and I added a bunch of just super white highlights in the hair that would also help show each strand. So you could just get a very thin brush, and then in places where a lot of light would hit, like right here on the corner of the nose and the top of the nostril, maybe the top of the mouth. And it would also help separate everything. And I added a little bit more shading in the feathers here, so it would be a bit more round, a bit more like the rest of the image. And I think that was it for me.
Yeah, I think looping back around to what was first said, push, just really push, go for that extreme, because it's so much easier to dial back a shadow than it is to leave than to keep reaching and reaching and reaching. If you find your farthest point, then you'll be able to figure out, what works for what image, what works for moods, what works for how far you can go. You won't be holding yourself back, and you'll have tried.
I'm not sure if it's in the original image or not, but like if it is, then the hue shifting around sort of the headband area and in like all the lights and shadows on Rainbow just look absolutely great. Love it. You can see like the stuff that people are doing there, where they're like adding the very big stuff and then cutting into it and all that sort of stuff, and that's also a really useful technique.
Personally, I just put my pictures up here and wait for everyone else to doodle over them, then call them mine. Seems to work for me.
Yeah. That's why I do red lines, because you can trace people's work, and it's fine. It's great. It's recommended.
It's kosher. People even thank you for it.
Yeah, I don't know. Crazy people. What's going on? Yeah, whenever I'm like, whenever I'm having trouble with like working out the lights and the shadows and getting it to read properly, I always think to myself, all right, for the next picture, I need to stay with my big brushes for longer, and I need to stay with my big giant honkin' brushes for a bit longer, and only like move to like the tiny small ones after a bit of a longer time.
Mm-hmm. There's a phrase, I don't know how popular it is. It was said a lot in the MLPDS in the olden days, but work general to specific. You really want to focus on that general part, because layering it up, it may look messy, and it's something I know I'm still working on, where like it's not going to look good right away, but that's because you're focusing on the bigger picture right now, and then you get into the details, you get into those specifics. So working from general to specific really helps the whole thing build up, and it gets everything covered, instead of, because if you spend so much time focusing on the specific, you lose the general shape of everything and you get lost in the details, and then other parts can fall apart and yada yada yada. So it's good to be big, be general, figure those big building blocks out so your house is stable.
Thumbnailing, yay! It's
Yeah.
always interesting to like on YouTube and watch pro artists thumbnail and stuff. It's always like, ooh, I want to learn from these people. Yep.
Shall we move on to the next picture?
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. Keep on submitting stuff to us, because
Yeah, good stuff.
you're a really good artist, and I love seeing you work.
All right, we got this little blue dude.
Yeah.
Blue burb horse.
Burp. This is by
Burp.
Demon Slayer 3215. I did another drawing in digital. Really proud of this one. I think the advice you gave helped quite a bit. So thanks. We critiqued their last blue burb.
Yay!
Yeah, blue burp.
So because you seem to be a return customer, I'm gonna start off with the usual blurb for return customers that should definitely expand out. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Like that's what we're looking for. Putting up your picture and going, "What's wrong?" works, but it doesn't help zero in on the issues and questions you might have. We can't read your mind, and unfortunately, it doesn't appear that you are here, so we can't pick your brain. What I'm saying is, I need some of those tasty, tasty questions that are rolling about in your head while you're working on this. Things like, I can't quite figure out why I can't see any definition in the hair. Or, how do I improve my line quality? Or, what do I do about this white void that keeps eating all my pictures? Things like that.
Hello, Void, my old friend.
Second part of this blurb, because this needs to be said for everyone now. Critique other people's art. It's a great thing. It might seem very intimidating, and it might seem like, oh no, I'm not good enough to do that. You know what? Everyone's good enough to do that. Just everyone. If you've picked up the pencil and drawn a few pictures, you have now done steps that other people might have not done. You have now solved problems that other people might not clearly understand how to solve. You have worked through these problems. So now it is your turn to go look at someone else's art and going, you know what? I think I see something that I don't quite like, or that I believe they could change to make it slightly different. Here's how I think they should change it. And that's a critique. That's all we're doing. We just talk for a lot longer.
Yeah, Yeah, that's true.
So my suggestion: start critiquing people. It's great. People love it. We've been doing it for how many years? How many? What almost a
We're on our
decade now.
3rd year right now, right?
You have this,
this
but like
stream.
yeah, the
10 years.
MLPDS is actually,
As old as Pony, right?
Yeah. Well, season 1 had ended, I believe. Created June. Yeah, 9 years old. June 22nd, 2011. Our subreddit was created.
Yeah, like critiquing is like so useful in terms of building your own art skills and stuff. But like you also don't need to like start big. You can always just be like, hey, I think your ears are I don't quite understand what your ears are doing, and then hey, here's like a little sketch I did maybe that like might be interesting. Or even if you don't need to do that, you can just be like, hey, your ears look a little bit interesting, and it might be a cool idea to do something like this instead, and just describe it. You can always like start small.
Of course. So I brought up the main, so I might as well talk about the main. Your main is lost in inky darkness. Dark hair is fine. Very, very dark hair is very hard. Hard for both other artists to deal with and hard for you to deal with. The reason I say it's hard for you to deal with is because how do you create definition in something that is a black hole? Go look up the Blackest Black or Black 2.0 or Black 3.0 and go stare at that stuff and ask, where the heck's the definition? Basically, if it gets too dark, we can't see where curves exist. And the only way we're going to start seeing that stuff is either throwing on shading or making it slightly lighter. Don't be afraid of, giving them a little gray, taking away a bit of the brightness. They've been hanging around the sun all their life, so it's the UV's sort of eating their hair. They aren't putting enough hair product in, and it's just not holding the luster.
Sometimes using shine to do this can be really effective. Like we've got someone putting, oops, my pen is still being silly. Putting the sort of highlights in the main here. I think like I can't see to draw. Oh no. Take my word for it. If you increase the amount of these sort of grey highlights, you could probably make the hair still look dark while giving it some like form. It sort of reminds me of if you've seen My Hero Academia, the main character has like black hair but with like green shapes in it to sort of like illustrate his like really messy, scruffy hair that's kind of a dark green, even though the main color is black and the highlights are dark green. But it gives you that sort of like seaweedy color, sort of like really dark green look, without actually having the main color be green. And it's really interesting, like way of coloring like that. So you could do something similar with this, like give them sort of gray, or even make not exactly gray, but like slightly color tinted gray. Highlights could actually do a lot to like give you some personality to their hair color instead of it just being like solid black.
Yeah, little bits of hue are always appreciated to make things a little tiny bit more interesting.
Like generally in characters, if possible, you want to stay away from white and black. Like sometimes, sure, you just want to have a character with a white coat or a black coat or black mane, like this one. And sure, like no one's saying that you can't do a certain thing with your character design, but bear in mind that like white is very hard to highlight unless you shove like a bunch of like environmental colors over the top and then highlight on top of that. And black is very hard to shade unless you do some special thing to make the shading look visible. So you want to keep it like not at those extremes as much as you can. And something like most like artists will know from having, if they, especially if they're artists who've done requests or commissions, is the pain of having characters who have like straight white or black and then having to try and do stuff with those colors to make them look interesting. And it's like typically most people who become experienced in art know to stay away from them. So but yeah, I understand if that's like an aspect of this character, and you shouldn't have to change the way your character is designed to make the colors work. That's why we sort of give you these pieces of advice to try and make black look more interesting and still look like they have dark hair without actually just the hair is black, pomp black.
Yeah, I'm just messing with the thing. Yeah, it's interesting trying to like figure out where the hooves and claws and all that sort of stuff should like fall, but you can see sort of this is where this front claw falls, and because this like hoof falls like so much further back, it looks a little bit strange. It looks a little bit like they're all out of whack and that sort of stuff. So either you should take this take this claw and push it up a bit, or take this hoof and pull it down a bit. So I'll just pull that down a little bit because the claw and the hoof are going to be like on a similar kind of a plane there. One thing I will say is good job on the references on the on the birdie kind of parts, because this wing and this beak, definitely drawn with references, and it shows.
Mm-hmm. They're really nice.
All right, shall we move on to our next one?
Woohoo!
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's a scared a punk. So this is by Stamus. You might remember them from such locations as MLPDS and possibly the internet. I'm trying to make the back hooves go in the opposite direction, but the lower half of the left hoof is still going forward. It doesn't make sense if you go by the form lines, I think they're called. Maybe I'm overthinking it. So, back hooves go the other way.
The special industry standard term is contour lines.
Whoa.
For these ones that sort of go over the form and sort of show it off and all that. And they are very useful. Yeah. It's interesting. You've got this like really interesting like kind of strong shape here that like is very readable and understandable and all that sort of stuff. I'd probably, to be honest, what I'd probably do is you've got this like leg kicking out a bit and like kind of not really going too far like towards or away from the camera, it feels like. But like what I do to sort of because this one is kind of so directly sort of there, this is sort of where I draw the hip. If I was like drawing the other hip, I'd sort of position it fairly way back and everything, and so I'd probably just like pull this more explicitly sort of back and then see where I end up with something a little bit more like I don't know, something maybe like that. Just something that like pushes this whole area kind of back a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I'm not sure exactly where to push it because you're going for that really extreme kind of style, which style of pose, which looks really interesting, but also means oh no, lots of experimentation has to be done to like position things properly. Also, feel free to erase the kind of the line, the line here, because that'll sort of help sell that being connected together.
Yeah, and I see Pixie's drawing on the face already. I love the motion it gets and the face stretches because of that, but I almost feel like the face is stretching a little too much and we lose the whole anatomy of the face just a little too much. Because especially when we lose it with the hair, we kind of have this tangent where the face feels like it's just like this shape, this stretched spoon. Because we lose that cheek where we get that nice little like pump to kind of dictate where the forehead is and Oop. I'd be careful. I'm trying to think if there's even like if there's something we can do to push the curve, but still
Hmm.
dictate the face a little bit more.
It might just be a bit of a case of moving this like this bit of the hair a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe like push, or just doing something weird like that. Get it like out of the way, and then you can have like something a little tiny bit more readable.
Yeah. You could even if you wanna capture the fact that she's throwing her head to the side really fast, you could even have this big strand of hair like whooshing that way to show that she's pulling it boop, across, and you can just have that like uh, however Pinky's strange curly curl goes, and then you get that action of her like woo.
I think probably one of the main things that sort of helps contribute to that sort of like feeling sort of thing is just the ear, because if you look at sort of the head, let me erase this. If you look at sort of the head, you've got the head, you got the side of the head, and it goes down into sort of this neck thing, and this ear is a little bit low, so you can just like normally with like pony ears and that sort of stuff, the higher up you can put it, the better, sort of thing. And just something up a bit further would probably help a little bit. Whenever I'm like drawing horse heads, what I'll do is I will have the circle for the head, cool, awesome. You can have sort of the middle line, so if their head's tilted or their head's tilted this way or whatever. Sick. And then what I'll do is I'll have like this little cut off shape of the head, because that's going to be like sort of the side of the head. And I'm going to make sure that when I draw my eyes, I'm going to keep them out of that area. And then it also helps me position the ears, because I can be like, yeah, the ears are going to sort of spawn from roughly this sort of top quadrant of that little cutoff area, sort of thing. So I always find that useful whenever I'm like constructing drawings and stuff. It's a really interestingly pushed drawing though. I like it. Just kind of mess around and try to find ways to make it a little bit more readable and all that sort of stuff. But in general, it's good like pose experimentation and stuff.
Yeah, it's always fun to go too far because then you get to really discover stuff. So don't be afraid of going the wrong way and in the name of going too far.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at contour lines is always illuminating and interesting. When I'm actually when I'm like going through and doing red lines and trying to study from other artists' pictures and that sort of stuff. Drawing like contours over the top is really useful because it sort of forces me to think about sort of the 3D layout of the whole space. So if you do more stuff like this in the future, definitely like draw more contour lines over the top. And like sometimes what I'll do is I'll like get to a point like this, and then I'll just create a new layer, and then just on that layer I'll just draw all the contour lines in the world, and then do my best to sort of use that as a bit of like a learning exercise, because things can like move and bend and twist in so many different sorts of weird, fun, wonderful ways. And it's up to you to sort of define that and work that out so that it can like be in your head. Yeah. That looks really good.
I'm just giving Pinky T-Rex arms because I had a flash in my head that's like, hey, you should give Pinky T-Rex arms, and that's just I'm going with it.
I love it. It's so good.
All right, shall we move on to our next horse? Oh my god, she now has fire. What is going on? Yeah, we're moving on to the next one. She has little T-Rex arms. I'm being disturbed.
This is the power of going too far.
Tried so hard. All right, this is by Seborgen. Ministry societies are bad, but if Fluttergoth herself met me, I'd definitely join in. I started this 1 month ago and slowly drew it at weekends. I'm interested. How long of a stint do you spend working on a picture on any given time? Is it just like, 20 minutes here and there and you'll pop off and go back to it next week? Is this like 200 hours of work? What is your actual timeline on something like this? Because it's good. It's a great picture. Like there's some wonderful lighting. The lighting's consistent. There's some great detail even hidden in the darks going around here. It's looking good. I'm so interested in that chair. Where does the chair end? Because I'm losing it in the darkness. This monitor's not quite as good with its darks.
The chair
You
is
can
kind of
lose it.
here. That's the edge, like the front of the chair, and the dips back.
Yeah, I think if you want to lose the chair in the darkness, that's totally fine. But you've got the areas like right here and right here that I'll
And the
like,
tail
let me-
too.
like here and here and here that are like close enough that they should probably also be getting lost in the darkness and all that sort of stuff if the chair is. So it's fine if the chair gets lost, but like also like keep in mind things close to the chair will probably also be lost.
I find it interesting. Like you've done this beautiful lighting going off here, catching there. None on the book, strangely, but you've also made the light descend down here. I only see one light source here. It implies Fluttershy's actually back from the table, so like if we're looking at the table here. Oh, yeah, I can't draw off the canvas. Stupid me. Anyway, if we look at the table here, we got a horse back here, boop, horse doing horse things, candles here. So lights, going that away. Wondering what's lighting up this table and what's catching that. Even if the candle's all the way on the edge, which, holy cow, don't do that. That's not safe. That's how horses lose houses. Anyway, even if it's all the way on the edge, like unless if that edge of the table goes further out, like bows out to appear, it's not really going to be picking up all that lighting. It's only going to be getting secondary lighting, which doesn't really do catch lights as much. And further to that, things like her leg, like if it's actually further back here where I suspect a safe horse like Fluttershy would put it, you're gonna end up like losing all of this leg. You're gonna have a hard cutoff line because it's a single source of light that isn't intense and it's coming from a small area, which means it is the shadows it casts are at very, very crisp. And this is actually a fun experiment you can do to play with lighting. You should have multiple lights in your house. I can almost guarantee there's a few of them. There's going to be one outside. If you open up your blinds during the daytime, assuming you aren't in like Antarctica, you're going to have this ball of gas up in the sky. That's a big light. That is the biggest light we got. You'll notice that it casts the light it casts in an area tends to be softer. It's not harsh as in the way that the shadows are cast are not like as defined. The areas that the light wraps around as a larger area. But then if you take something like your flashlight or cell phone flashlight and hold it up further away from you, you notice that the light that it casts is very harsh. I highly suggest playing, like actually getting a bunch of different light sources around you and playing with the light and just observing it. You don't even have to try and redraw it. It's great if you do redraw it, draw it on balls, draw it on blocks, draw it on horses, whatever. But playing with the light and observing it and just making mental notes of what's happening is a great way to build your library for future references. Because, oh boy, do we all forget about the things that we see all the time. It just, you don't make notes of it. Anyway, that was my tangent on light.
So, just one thing before I forget. If you look on YouTube, look up Marco Bucci 10 minutes. He's got this awesome series called 10 Minutes to Better Painting, and he's got an episode on there called Edges. And I think that will probably help with the sort of painterly styles that you're sort of going for and that you want to kind of get. Just in like making it look a little bit more interesting and convincing and all that sort of stuff. That video definitely helped me when I was trying to mess around with painting stuff a little bit more. And the other thing is, I'll let Picardo come back up. Grab. All right, you've got this picture. This picture is cool. This picture is awesome. It's amazing. The good thing now that you've finished this picture is that you can mess with this picture and you can use it to practice all sorts of weird, crazy stuff that you want to. So my advice would be get this picture, get a big brush, big boy, and sort of just color pick like different like little shadow colors and gray colors and all that sort of stuff, and then just try to like you've probably seen me sort of messing with just applying blanket like shadows and lights and all that sort of weird stuff through the stream. And now is your opportunity to take this thing you've created and then mess with it and use it to practice and screw around with and try to see what works and see what doesn't. So feel free to just like mess around with it and stuff. Now you can see that I added like a little bit of light on the inside of the eye here, and it's interesting, but it's the kind of stuff that you can like mess with now that you've got this picture that's nicely rendered out and all that sort of stuff.
What book Fluttershy is reading? It's so small.
Yeah. I always find books are really difficult to do in proportions like this, like because it's like 3D on like to the camera, it's diagonal. It's always like whenever I try drawing books, they always look really skinny and just like way too small in general.
I do love how these two ended up though.
Those are the ones I was looking at. If there's another one, I literally can't see it. Oh, I can't see that. My tablet is too contrasting.
Yeah.
I thought that was just like the edge of the chair or something.
It reminds me of when I'm painting and night mode is active on my tablet, and then in the
Oh, I
morning I
can
look
see
at
it
it
on my
again and
main
I'm like,
screen
oh,
now. I can see it now. Yeah, that's basically it.
yeah, it's probably about all I can say for this one.
Yeah, it's a very good picture, and I'm interested. I'm interested to know some of these questions we've asked. Also interested to see where you take your pictures in the future. Maybe we can make Fluttershy happy. You know, give her a little money, or we just get some goth bunnies with her.
Given the whole look of it, I think gothic rather than goth. But like, definitely check out that Marco Bucci 10 minutes to better painting series, because the sort of stuff that like I'm seeing that could probably be improved here are the kinds of things that he directly talks about in that. So
Yeah, I'm gonna check that stuff out when I'm done this stream.
It's so good.
Because I hear in 10 minutes I can become a better painter.
Yep.
Then I'll just be done. People will start, commissioning me. I'll be a millionaire. It'll be great.
Your life will be fixed.
Technically, 10 minutes of practice will always make you a better painter to some degree.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. That's the worst part.
Or is it the best part?
All right, so our next picture up is by Apathetic X Addict. I think the line art is a bit shaky. I'm open to critique. Also, breezies are underrated, MIL.
Yeah, they're very cute.
So, line art a bit shaky. I'm not... Your lines are looking pretty okay. They seem to actually work well with the shading that you've done here. Because your shading is not... what's the word that I'm looking for? It's not as deliberate. It's more of just like a cell shading, but like a lower rendering of cell shading, where it's not everything's taken in consideration, but it's okay because it sort of works because the lines also work with it. You know what I mean? I don't know if this is coming through.
I think the shading looks awesome. I think the line work looks perfectly serviceable. I like it. I think if anything, it's probably just the pose isn't too readable for me. I'm having a little bit of trouble sort of finding especially sort of around this area. I'm having trouble understanding what things look like, and the clothes on top obscure things a little bit. Let me try to. Oh, I think, is this like an anthro-y kind of?
They
style?
didn't say. Let me go scroll through some of their other stuff to see if that's sort of the feeling I get from them. Well, that's a lot of memes. Holy cow, that's a lot of memes. I'm gonna go yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh God,
Okay,
no.
that makes sense.
I'm so sorry, Apathetic. 29 days ago, you saw the face of evil. I'm sorry. It's a
I'm
goose.
afraid no.
It's a goose.
Oh.
Canadian geese are evil. It's the worst. Watch them chase around 2 students today. It was, I mean, kind of entertaining, but dang, they're so annoying.
I'm not super down with the anthro hip stuff, but I've sort of messed with this a little bit. I can see the because it looks like the hips are kind of like the kind of a thing, and so I've sort of adjusted the hem of the shirt shape to kind of show that off a little bit. Because when you're like looking at poses kind of like this, it's always useful to sort of look at where the shoulders are, and then look at where the hips are. And from what I'm seeing here, I'm sort of getting that like shape where it's like boom, boom in terms of the torso shape. And that's kind of where I'm basing this like new modified shirt line off of, sort of thing. If you look, let me just link to all the YouTube references. If you look at Proco, they have a specific video called "The Bean," and it's this really interesting sort of concept where you have, for the whole torso shape, yeah, you construct this kind of like beanie looking thing, and it sort of focuses on sort of how do you create a torso that reads in a very interesting, readable kind of a way. And I think that it could like probably help you with your sort of readability of your poses and that sort of stuff. Also, whoever is drawing this, oh my god, I love it.
CPC.
I love it. With the little like folds and stuff around here, I think it's not quite as convincing as it probably could be. Around these kinds of areas looks good. This, especially this little like lip to the thing, looks absolutely great. I love it. But this in particular, I think it's because both of these sort of.
I would do it like this. Oh, I shouldn't draw orange on
That's-
orange. Then it's here.
Yeah.
And here there's a little bump because the fabric's gonna bunch up around the. Then a little bump here where the fabric bunches up again, and here it's being pulled down because of gravity, so it does this little curve. That would be my approach to it.
I love it. It looks so good. Yeah, I think it's mostly just because like both these were like sort of being pulled in. It like almost came off like you were trying to follow the sort of bicep thing, but like that wouldn't like show through in that kind of a way. Do with the fabric. considering how far this way the shoulder is, it's either facing us like pretty front on, or they're like explicitly sort of pushing it forwards. So keep that in mind when you're like looking at sort of if this hoof was like a little bit more down that way, you'd probably see like some pretty extreme sort of stuff going on here to let's sort of show how the all this area is bending and stuff. But in general, I think it looks good. Like I really like the sort of shading you've done. The you know, little. It just comes off really well on these sorts of like levels. It's sort of like halfway between like normal shading and cell shading sort of stuff, and that's really good. Your line work looks great. I don't have much of a complaint about it. I think it's just like the readability of the pose and that sort of stuff. Maybe if you want to mess them around with like a little bit of like life drawing things, where like you're focused on sort of the overall readability of poses and that sort of stuff, that might help you out, and the mean might be helpful to you as well. But in general, it looks good. Good job. Oh, I think with the legs, I also sort of pushed the hock up a little bit further than it was. But that's just me. That's just personal preference. I'm not sure how anthro-y sort of stuff tends to go with that.
To me, the pose just feels like it's a bit off balance. I can't really explain it. It just feels like his head is too far this way compared to where the butt sits. And that's what I've been doing in the pose I've been this one and here. So here, this one
they're definitely sort of tilted to the left as they're flying, which I don't think is super bad considering like where their wings are carrying them. But it does also sort of feel like the neck is like too far to the right. So like it's sort of like the head is in the right place for the torso, but then the neck is moved. If that makes sense.
I almost want to just select the whole thing and rotate it a bit. Yeah, on this one I just made him it's like more straight up, and on this one I just made the line of action more curvy instead of going like this. Very slight. I made it more wee.
Yeah, I think the thing that sort of stands out to me, like if you compare the poses between these two, is like that here, like just like it just it's pretty subtle, but like going out and then in this kind of like a way, it just sort of it makes the pose and expression and all that sort of stuff just read a lot more like clearly and obviously. I don't know, that's good. Thanks CPC being so good at poses and drawing and everything.
It's true.
I make the top one pointy because it has tiny limbs, so make them pointy so you can read them. Makes sense in my head, but then I can't explain it. Just make them pointy. Make it so it's really painful if they want to like put their what is this part of the body called? Shoulder.
Yes.
If they stab someone, they can stab someone with their shoulder.
Brilliant, I love it.
Elbow? Shoulder. I don't know which one is which. You can stab with both.
It's like an 80s business person. Oh, there's more drawing going on underneath. Holy crap, look at this one. Oh my lord.
Yeah, that's the other pose I was talking about where I did the more.
LD. Scroll down.
Yeah, oh god. There's a lot going on.
There is a lot. Yeah, you can see in this kind of pose how like they let me erase my all of that. How what they sort of have done is kind of pull the legs so much like across because it is like, you know, all leaning to the left and all that sort of thing. It like helps balance everything out a little bit.
Yeah. And I usually put the arm a bit more relaxed, so the shoulder pointing a bit more out. Because it's if you try to do the pose yourself, keeping the elbow that close to your body actually make it's like quite a tense pose. While if you're flying, you might just have more relaxed. So
Mm.
your shoulder kind of points out.
Yeah, you can see that this one like went for a little bit more of like a relaxed pose, and this one went for like a little bit more of like a tense expression.
It's doing a very tight curve,
Mm.
going real fast.
Zoom.
I can
I'm sure
enhance.
Gracies can get the zoomies.
Enhanced. There you go.
Enhanced. Yay.
Enhance.
It might catch up one day.
Somewhere out there.
I think that's about all I sort of have to say on this one. Really, really good job. Solid. Show us more stuff.
Yeah. So that's it for what we have for pictures today. Anyone else have any other questions? Anyone else have any other pictures they'd like to throw at her face? And anyone else have any candy they would like to send to me? You know.
Is
Got
this an LD before the zombification?
I may have gotten slightly distracted at some point during the stream.
So cute.
I was
It's
never
super
that cute.
That's a lie. I've painted
I,
an
I
LD
had
before.
wondered where you had disappeared to at one point when you like hadn't said anything in an hour.
I did
that's
at some point think I haven't talked in a bit, but then I wasn't quite sure what picture we're in, so I just kept on painting. Till we swapped to one I knew where we were. I didn't even sketch that, I just kind of made a grey blob and then got distracted by the grey blob until it became this.
That turned out good.
Oh, maybe I should paint more often. Grayscale is fun.
I may actually have something. Let me just upload that real quick. So what is that? So, oh, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I thought I was muted by myself again. Sometimes I like to see pictures on a Pinterest, and I like to make them pony, I guess. But sometimes it leads to like nowhere because I can get the picture like the general thing down, but what is like the story behind it? This is like the case of it, So I have this drawing here, but I have the picture down, but there's no story behind it. So that's kind of boring. That's the thing. So it's not really a thing, just like art talk, I guess. It's not really a critique
Imbuing
thing. Yeah.
story into art.
I think
Yeah.
if you really want to push a story, it's hard to do that with a headshot.
Mm.
Fair
Usually a
enough, yeah.
story is a scene you're telling, kind of like you can get all the information from the scene itself. Now, this would be perfect to help tell the story if this was a character bio, because you have the details of the scar, you know, the expression, the ears going down. This would really accentuate a character bio, absolutely. But if you're trying to capture or tell a scene or a story, usually I think a scene is
Yeah, and also I think there's also another problem, which is the problem with color theory. I just don't quite get it yet. I don't know. It's just like when I do like random ponies, it takes me a long time to find like a proper color that works. I mean, I personally preference. I don't like flashy colors. I feel like they look a bit weird. Maybe because my color composition is not good enough. I just feel like flashy color looks a bit weird. I don't know. So I often go with like the similar colors, like more either you like human skin or like more like brownish or grayscale. I go with that kind of colors a lot. And I
If
want
you like natural colors, you can always just Google different colors of horses, because horses have a lot of coat patterns and stuff. So you can
true.
go
Yeah,
that
that's
way.
actually true. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Damn. Yeah.
I think the colors you've been choosing so far are already pretty decent.
I see. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
good
got that
to not
over.
focus on too many things at once as well. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
With the sort of putting more story into it and all that sort of stuff, I think it'll probably just come down to like uh, background and lighting, that sort of
Background.
thing
Yeah,
for me.
true. Definitely. Yeah.
Like,
Background.
maybe destroyed rubble stuff if it's like in the middle of like a war zone sort of thing, or maybe like some big church and you've got some like harsh lighting and this and that, and it's just all sorts of you can go all
Yeah,
sorts
go
of
ahead,
different
Flurry.
directions with it.
It's all right. I don't think it work. I don't know what can I do about this. I'm just really confused.
Yeah.
Like, if I see this drawing I did, well, this is like a commission, but I'm doing commissions for free because I don't think um there's so much money. Like you can see, like with lighting and a bit of a thing, kind of tells a bit of story.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like this looks a bit more hopeful. Whatever. You know,
You can
I don't
tell
know.
it's kind of like a more proud sort of like expression because like the lighting is sort of
Yeah, true.
emphasizing that, and it's sort of
Definitely, yeah.
helping push that feeling.
Yeah, I think you guys have a point there. Yeah, definitely lighting, background relates a lot. If this grayscale background, you just don't tell much story at all.
Just keep in mind, you can always just like do the big shapes, and then just blur the crap out of them. And it's nothing needs to be like super like defined.
I
The
tried to do that with
defining
background
things is
recently,
like
and it
a
still ended up being very, very like specifically painted out.
defining things properly is a sham.
I
Sold
try to be
by
messy.
Adobe to sell brushes.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. I tried to I tried to make like sort of blurry abstract backgrounds, and this in the voice channel is what I ended up with.
I mean, you can always do like I do and just spend 3 hours on the background and
Yeah.
Gaussian blur the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And then no one sees nothing anyway. But I spent 3 hours on it.
I sort of have that with my blog. No one is ever gonna notice, but with the Spirit Wind blog I have, because there's like a background folder with like a bunch of layers and vectors. So there's like a bunch of trees, and there's like you can see bits of houses of Ponyvilles and a little bit of Twilight's Castle sticking up at the background that you can't see because Spirit's like covering it anyway. And then there's also clouds in the sky, and like with each picture, I've been moving the clouds slightly to the left with each successive picture, but you can't see them because it's so bright and blurred anyway. But oh well. I don't know.
Oh no.
See, yeah. I think blur is actually a very good advice. How do you do blur in Photoshop? Is it just like a filter thing? It's in
I
a filter, right?
I think there's like a
Uh,
tool. I
uh,
don't know. There's tools. There's filters. The Gaussian blur filter and other such blur
Found
filters.
it.
But
Yeah.
people have different techniques for doing it. I've seen someone do like
Mhm.
really beautiful, like I don't know what it's called, but when like the background like slowly blurs as it like goes, like I really like that effect where something sort of blurs more and more as it goes outwards from a point. Um,
Hmm.
which I didn't know how to do, but I've definitely seen some people doing that in Photoshop. I don't know how though, because I don't use Photoshop.
Yeah, I use Clip Studio,
I
so I
see.
just go Gaussian blur.
I managed to create the effect on that picture I shared in the voice channel, which has that similar thing where it blurs more as it goes into the background. I did that with a brush I found, on the Clip Studio
Right.
assets, which I will share to people who need it. But obviously, you can't use that with Photoshop, unfortunately.
Actually, you
The
can
vice versa
now.
is true. Oh, you can put Clip Studio brushes on Photoshop.
Well, okay, so I know Clip Studio now takes Photoshop
Yeah, I was gonna
brushes,
say the
so
vice
it's the
versa is
same.
true, but I don't know if the
Well, if they're the
usually
same
when it comes to Adobe
program.
products, it's a one-way mirror. With other programs, like, yeah, we'll recognize the Adobe format, and then Adobe's like, who are you?
Adobe. Dude, it's so expensive every year, but as you have got
It
a
is.
student
That's why I
discount
don't
from
use
uni,
it.
which is good.
It's kind of ridiculous. Like the programs usually are good, but I've had too much trouble with them in the past to warrant the amount that they cost. Like they just don't. It's kind of like a brand thing where it's like, oh, this is the big fancy professional brand, but they've just been lucky enough to build that image up and just sort of run on that, you know.
I spent an hour trying to change the brush color because it just refused. And then I
Oh my
decided
gosh.
I am done with Photoshop and I'll never try it again.
I don't mind it, but it's definitely an editing tool, rather than a painting tool for me anyway. But it is worth trying different programs, just seeing what you like, because there are free ones, there are cheap ones. It's always worth to see what different ones do for you.
Yeah,
I love
I
my
just
draw
think
pile.
God, draw file.
Literally, like draw pile zoomed out to 50% is one of my favorite painting programs ever. I love it so
Really?
much.
We
Yeah.
We moved out of draw pile because we all hated it.
we all hated it so much. So I thought you were being sarcastic, but hey,
Nah,
if it worked for you.
if I wasn't using CPC, I mean, what's
CPC? What
if
am
I
I
wasn't
doing?
using
I'm not being paid
CSP,
for this.
if I wasn't using Clip Studio, I'd probably go back to using Drawpile
You
because
like to
I
keep
love it.
things simplistic, though, don't you? Which I
I
think
don't
is
know.
cool.
I love how the brushes feel. They
Oh.
did a
Surprised
really
you've
good
never
job.
had a SAI phase, because everyone totes that for being so good for its simplicity and brushes
Yeah.
and stuff.
Like, yeah, intuitive, like feeling for the brushes and everything.
Oh yeah.
I think
What you're
I
saying
pirated.
is like so in contrast with like the years we spent doing the crit stream using Drawpile and like literally not being able to draw the stuff that we're trying to show people because like we just can't get the tools to work the way we want.
I was everyone else having problems. That was fun. It's so good.
I don't know. It just didn't work the way we wanted it to.
It just I could never like what I did with that pony. I just could never blend on
Yeah.
draw pile for whatever reason. It's just always ended up super weird and grainy.
Aggie, for some reason, Aggie is just like one of the better drawing
I
programs
don't
just
mind
in
the
general.
tools in Aki. I miss when we used to do the Drawpile disasters in Aki and doing like little doodles and stuff on the side. It's fun. I got
It's
used
just
to
capable enough.
once you can get it to actually work with your like browser and tablet and all that.
All right. Anyone else have any other questions? Any other art they'd like to throw at our face? Or I'm still taking Halloween candy, or even Easter candy. Just candy.
Oh yeah,
I'll
definitely.
take candy.
It's not Easter candy, it's birthday candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, way to have a birthday. Way to get older.
Every year they make these cute bunnies with a little bell and they're gold and they're for
I
my
love
birthday
those.
for sure.
In
Lindor.
Pathfinder I
Yep.
played a cat girl for ages who had like bells on her everywhere, so I'd get those and then like just strap bells.
I need to go get some because they're for my birthday.
Yeah, you
They
do.
always show up around my
Specially
birthday.
made for you.
Yep. My parents always used to get me them around my birthday, so they're now birthday rabbits.
Aw, that's sweet. All right, well, with that, we're going to call it a day. So thank you all for coming. We'll see you again next week. Bye.
Bye.